Welcome to the Lights Lounge, your weekly home for all things Las Vegas Lights FC. We'll be here every single week in 2025. In the midweek, you can join us for a deeper dive into everything that happens on the pitch, including match previews and analysis, alongside a new guest every single episode. Coming up, the Lights are looking to keep the momentum rolling in the USL Jägermeister Cup after a 3-1 win away at Orange County. The turnaround is quick to AV Alta at home on Wednesday night in the same competition. Alongside me today to chat takeaways from that win and the team's future in the Jägermeister Cup, I have the clutch goal scorer, Christian Pinzon. Christian, welcome to the lounge.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for the invitation.
Let's go straight away into it. Big win on Saturday, and I'd say a much-needed win for the squad after a rough week in the Open Cup and the league. Just talk me through the win. Talk me through what your takeaways were from the match.
Yeah, man, like you said, it was a big win, man. This group's been training hard every day, so these 3 points were needed. Man, yeah, just like you said, it was tough. You know, we're not starting, I guess, the season as how we want, but I'm just trying to focus each game one by one, and yeah, man, big win.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about this with Joe. I think everyone wants to win every single game they play, but it's still the best start in Lights history, and it's now with this win, it's slightly better than the start you guys got off to last year. So, and we know how last year ended up. So, patience is the name of the game with that sometimes. So that 3-1 win, goals from a really great goal from Rory O'Driscoll, goal from yourself, and then a penalty from Johnny, plus a key Ryko penalty save, all added up to a 3-1 win. For you, what made this the team's best performance? Because for me, watching the game from field level, it was the most dominant you guys have seemed, the most chances we've created. You just seemed the most comfortable out there. What made that happen?
Yeah, I just think it's a matter of time, right? You know, we realize it's a process. It takes a couple of games. You know, the guys get comfortable and stuff. So I feel like offensively, things were just. It was nice. It was the flow was good. You could tell we were connecting. Defensively, you know, we always work hard, and we got guys like we had 3 different goal scorers, right? So I feel like that's a big part too. Any of us could put that ball in the back of the net, and it was great from us. Yeah,
you had a ton of family there.
Yeah, everybody.
We talked a little bit about it post game, and there's some stuff on social, but I think you had like 40 plus people there. They had the Pinzon sign. So just tell me, who were those people? What was it like playing in front of them?
Yeah, my parents, family, friends, college teammates, high school coaches. Just being from the area, you get to know a lot of people. So it's just it was nice for them to come support and not only win, but being able to score in front of my family. So it was a nice moment, bro.
Yeah, pretty cool. Unfortunately, you didn't score on that side, though. You scored on the wrong side of the field to be able to go celebrate.
A bunch of my teammates were actually telling me, bro, you should have just ran across the field and said, you know. But it's too far.
Is that teammates from college, from high school?
College teammates from college, and then high school coaches that I just have a really great relationship with. My old high school, the sporting director from my old high school also went to go support, took his family. So a little bit of everything.
Okay, cool. We'll put a pin in that because I've got a lot of questions about some of that stuff. So we'll circle back to that conversation a little bit more about the game itself. So your goal is the second goal of the game, so it actually stands up as the game winner. Last year, you scored 3 goals for the team. All 3 were game winners. So it seems like you have a penchant for scoring clutch goals. Do you consider yourself a clutch player?
Man, I mean, I'm gonna say yeah. You know, I think everybody on this team, man, would consider themselves that. But just like you said, man, big moment. It was a big game. I was happy to get that ball in the net. So yeah, man, I guess so.
And then Ryko on penalties, so he saves another penalty.
These guys are just good at PKs, you know.
Okay, so you take a lot of penalties against him in practice and training, all this kind of stuff. What makes him good at penalties?
I don't know, man. I just feel like if I'm with him on a daily basis, so I feel like his mentality has a lot to do with it. You know, like he's the type that I'm gonna block this PK. Like he's the type during the game he'll look at me and be like, hey, don't worry, I'm gonna block this PK, and he does. Yeah, you know. So it's just the confidence in him, man. A great keeper, and yeah, man. Hopefully he blocks a lot more this year.
It's gotten to a point, I think, now where we concede a penalty, and I'm fairly confident that we're not going to immediately concede, which is just not like the most common reaction to giving away a penalty because he's so good at them. It's incredible. Are you scoring more on him in training, or is he saying
I mean, I would say, you know, but then the games there is a little different, right? Since he knows exactly where I'm going, it's a little bit more of like, you know, you're going up against a guy who sees you shoot every day, so it's a little bit of like,
Yeah. Okay, cool. I feel it. And then I think, I mean, just as a general note, with the Jägermeister Cup rules, because you go to a penalty shootout if it's a draw at the end of these group stage games for an extra point. So that's got to give the team like an extra little advantage, knowing that you guys go in a penalty shootout, you're feeling reasonably confident.
Definitely.
So, let's look ahead to AV Alta a little bit. So we've got AV Alta FC coming to town, games at Wednesday night here at Cashman Field at 7:30 p.m. They're a USL League One team, so just a reminder, the Jägermeister Cup pits all of the USL Championship and League One teams against each other. This is the second of 4 group stage games, and the best 8 go through to the knockouts. What are you expecting from AV Alta on Wednesday?
Crazy, bro. I actually know the team pretty well, because it's a California team. I know the majority of the players, even the coaches. Just like in general, the soccer is a small world, and it's even smaller in California.
Yeah.
So once they started that team, you know, they started to make some noise, and I was like, okay, I know that coach. Okay, I know that guy he signed. I know. So it's going to be a good game, man. Okay. It's going to be a good game.
You have former teammates on that team, or just playing against people, or kind of
just playing against people, friends of my friends. Yeah. Maybe we've played once in a tournament, but like, you know.
Yeah. Okay. For them, for AV Alta, they lost 1-0 to Sacramento in their Jägermeister Cup opener, so close game there. In the Open Cup, they beat Orange County in penalties. It was a 2-2 draw, and then they won in penalties. So despite them being 8th out of 10 in the USL League One league standings, they're clearly a dangerous team. Like, they're clearly stacking up well against some good Western Conference championship teams. Think there's any danger there?
I mean, look. The thing about this sport is like every game is different, right? So like you could play the team twice, and each game is different, and we just gotta be ready for the challenge, be ready to compete. Yeah, you know, and if we go out there and compete, and the intensity is high, you know, I have no worries.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, we talked about this in the Open Cup preview, and obviously Chattanooga Rebels come in here and win in penalties, and just that mentality of like a lower division team wanting to prove that they can play at the next level. And us playing an MLS team, we want to prove that last year against LAFC. But it can become a little bit of a trap, right? When you're the quote unquote favorite.
Yeah, I feel like without even knowing, like maybe take it a little bit easier, or just maybe a lower gear, but that's what our coach is implementing every day, you know, no matter who we play against, even if it's training or game, like make sure your intensity is there, make sure you're always trying to play and compete. So
tell me a little bit about playing for Antonio Notarino. What's he like as a coach? You referenced it there. I think we all see the level of intensity, especially when he steps between those lines.
For sure, man. Very, very intense. I think it just goes back to his trajectory, you know, his career. So he's played at the highest level. He knows what's expected, and you know, I like that. I like that, a coach who always has you on your toes. Make sure you come every day to compete. Yeah. And you know, at the end of the day, if you're able to like just deal with that intensity of how he is as a person, as a coach, you know, it could bring out the best in players, you know. So yeah, man, he's a good coach.
Yeah, high standards, right? Yeah, and he expects a lot. And so when you don't deliver on it, I mean, we were talking to Joe Zhao last week on the pod, and he was talking about when he was first breaking through at Dortmund and first team training. He said he would miss easy chances in that game, and guys would be like trying to get him thrown out of the session, right? And that's like, you know, he's played for AC Milan, he's played in Champions League. That's like the environment that he's used to, that he's coming from, and that's maybe a little bit of a culture shock sometimes in the States. It just isn't that same life or death. That it can be in Italy or Germany or those places. So
That's true, man. The soccer is different in different countries, and man.
But that's what's interesting too, is there's a lot of, we were talking about this before we started recording, there's a lot of different guys from a lot of different backgrounds on this team, and that's what I think makes soccer so fun, is all these people coming from different walks of life and different schools of thought and how the game is played. And we've had a lot of them on this podcast. Gennaro from Italy, Joe Zhao's, a lot of his formative years in Germany, a lot of your formative years in Southern California and Mexico. So those add up to a really interesting melting pot of
100%.
stuff.
That's why I think we have a great team, because everybody has different experiences from where they come from, their style of soccer, and just try to put that all together.
Yeah.
You know.
So let's talk about your experience a little bit. I want to go all the way back to the beginning to start us off. You went to high school in Bellflower, California. Is that hometown? You grew up as a kid in Bellflower?
Yeah. So I was born in Bellflower.
Okay.
I would live in Downey, which is like the next city over, but practically lived my life in Bellflower. Went to Bellflower High School. Yeah, I was class of 2017 at Bellflower.
We were the same class. So
really?
I was also a class of 2017.
2017.
Because it was funny because I was looking through your high school career and your college career, and like all of ours lines up. I graduated in 2017 and also played college soccer. Also lost my senior season to the pandemic. So we'll talk about that later. First let's throw soccer out the window. What was it like growing up? What was your family life like? What was it like with friends growing up in Southern California?
Yeah, I think I had a pretty cool childhood, man, especially of my surroundings, my family. So my parents are from Guadalajara, Mexico, and just the culture of being a Mexican or just Latin is awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Had an older brother who also was in soccer, so he was kind of the one who introduced me to soccer. I was around like 4 or 5 years old when I first started to actually play. I remember just tagging along with my older brother who would just go train with his friends, or if they would have a game this weekend or a tournament. Like I was just always with him.
Yeah.
I was just always with him. And he was just cool. Him and his friends, who to this day I'm very close friends with. They would just let him play, let the little kid play. And
how much older was he from you?
My brother's maybe like 10, 12, 11 years older.
So we're not talking like 4 years older. Like
no,
you were a little kid.
Little kid.
Like they were in middle school and high school when you were.
Yeah, they're like exactly. And I was in elementary or something like that. And then I would have cousins who are in between us, who were maybe like so I was about like 8 years old, 9, and I was maybe training with like my 13, 14-year-old cousins, and then my brother who was like 18, 19, and just being around older guys. Yeah. And it was, like I said, man, it was cool for them to just let a little kid just come and play and train with them.
Yeah. It's always the younger sibling that seems to make it, right? Because you have to scratch and claw and play with the older kids. And
to be honest, I think if it wasn't for a lot of people in my life, but if it wasn't for my older brother he was the first person to take me to a club team. He would take me to the trainings. Maybe he just seen, hey, this kid he likes it, He likes it. He's pretty good. Let me try to help him out. And he would play futsal a lot. So like I would always just tag along with him. I'll just be there, just an annoying little brother, just always with him.
Amazing. That's what I saw as well, is that you didn't actually play organized outdoor soccer until high school. Correct. It was all futsal before then. Yeah. I mean, what does that do for your development, right?
Man.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know futsal, like small, it's basically indoor soccer, right? So you're like small spaces, all of that stuff.
Constantly always just touching the ball, work good in small spaces, and it's just fun, man. It's fun. It's in a way, it's organized pickups, and it's just fun, man. I remember also when I was younger, we would go. They would go compete in like nationals, and actually last year they'd actually hosted here in Vegas. Oh, cool. It was a national futsal team, futsal tournament, and man, I would just play mostly those tournaments up until it was time to play high school. Like there was intramural, I believe, which is like 8th, 7th grade. That's when I really bought like my first pair of cleats. Like, well, okay, I gotta play outdoor.
Yeah, I just didn't even have a pair of cleats until like 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah, believe me.
Yeah. It's different. I mean, it's that like street soccer mentality that like doesn't really exist as much in this country that you grew up on. I think I see that in your play style as well. I always say that I was a right back in college, and I always liked the midfielder, the attacking player, that you could get into a tight spot and you just be like, screw it, like just get the ball to Christian, like he'll figure it out. Like you get in a tight spot, you get like stuck on the sideline, you're getting pressed, and it's like, just like ping it to Christian's chest and he'll get us out of this tight spot. And I think you see that in your play style, and it probably comes from the futsal background. Yeah, just
being comfortable just on the ball, right?
I
think that's just the biggest thing, just having the ball at your feet and just play and move, man. Play and move and try to find spaces, trying to find the other side. And it's a lot of like 1v1s, right? So it's like just winning your individual battles. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, so then you graduate, for lack of a better term, into high school soccer. That was at Bellflower. were you playing club soccer at this time as well, or was high school soccer your first taste? What was the journey there as like a freshman in high school?
Yeah, so start high school, that's when you start building friends. And I remember my freshman year in high school, made the varsity team, and just being with those guys who I'm still very good friends with. They were a year older or 2 years older, and they would just invite me to their club. Like, hey, like, you want to play club? I play for HD Eagles. So I would just tag along with them, and that was 2013, 14. That's when I started playing high school soccer and then also club soccer.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Wait, before we leave high school soccer, I did want to pull this up because I have this YouTube video of you as a 10-year-old.
That's crazy.
Bro, yeah.
The amount of times, man, that this has come up in clubs.
Yeah, you get this, like,
crazy.
People find this thing all the time,
Yeah,
huh?
It's just hilarious, man.
It's funny. You've got I think it's your futsal coach in the background of this is like egging you on, right?
So, yeah, that's my coach. My first Brazilian coach's name is Louis. That's my brother, actually, right there.
In the gray.
Yeah. He just told me random. I remember this day. I don't know why. Like, hey, let's just do you a video, Just I'm like, what do you want me to do? Just do whatever you want.
Amazing stuff. I mean, I had to bring that up. It's even like
you brought it from the archives.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I know what I'm doing.
man,
I do my research before we start these pods. I don't just wing this thing.
That's crazy.
That's funny, but I mean, it is a little window into like how you grew up playing, and I think fans can see from that and the swagger and the technical ability as a 10-year-old doing that type of video to where you are now as like a fully mature 26-year-old professional, but you can see little flavors of that in your game in the 90 minutes. So I just think that's cool. Okay, back to high school soccer. So you get into the high school soccer scene. Big high school, like what was the competition level like? I talked about this a little bit with Johnny because you don't see a lot of professional soccer players now that played high school soccer. It's just not as common of a pathway because of the academies and the clubs and whatever. But what was the value of high school soccer for you? Like, what was that experience like?
Yeah, went to a very small school, man. It was a Division IV, Bellflower. But it was weird because I think, if I'm not mistaken, it depends on like their population of the school.
Right.
But I think like towards my end of my high school, different sports within our school was in different divisions.
Oh, okay.
So like let's just say we would be third and volleyball would be fourth or whatever it was. But my years were Division IV.
So you guys started beating the crap out of people in Division IV, and then they made
move
up.
Yeah, we did actually. We ended up going to Division II. We ended up winning CIF my sophomore and senior year.
Yeah.
And they bumped them up to Division II.
Yeah, so some stats here. You scored 86 goals in 71 games.
That's crazy.
That's great. Yeah, you scored 30 goals as a senior. Mm-hmm. So you were beating up on kids. It seems like it was maybe a little unfair.
Man, I mean, you say that, man, but like it was. Yeah, man, I had a great coach too. We had a great team. I remember my senior year, we had like 15 seniors. So it was just the build up from freshman year all the way to senior year. And
yeah. I saw this story in there. So you referenced winning basically the section title sophomore year and senior year. But that sophomore year, you'd scored 22 goals, but you got injured. You had some sort of foot injury that kept you out of the final. Yeah. And then you refused to wear the medal until you won one yourself. And what you did senior year, and then you finally were like, okay, I'll take that medal now.
Yeah, that was like a full circle of life right there, man.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy you bring that up, bro. And I remember that interview as well in high school. But yeah, man, I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me. Yeah. At that time when I was younger, maybe I over-exaggerated. Maybe like I deserve this ring, but like, I don't know. That was just like a personal challenge of mine, that I'm not going to put this on because I didn't play the final. Let me try to win it or win it again. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think that says about your mentality as a player?
Kind of a lot, man. I think so, just wanting more. I wasn't content with just winning, but I wanted to play it as well. Yeah. I wanted to be a part of winning that championship, especially our school. I don't think they've never won CIF before. Like us winning it was a big deal. It was a big deal, man.
There's nothing like representing a community. Yeah, and I think high school soccer gives a lot of people that experience because now you get to do it as a professional, right? Like you represent Las Vegas, you go sign autographs, you see kids that like want your jersey, and that's a cool feeling. Most people don't get to the level that you're at, and high school soccer I think gives a little bit of that experience. And I think is pretty special in that way.
And I would say like each era of my career has been amazing, but just the times in high school is always great times, man. Smiles, just being around friends and family, and just like you said, like up until we started winning and second round CIF, third round CIF, semifinal, like people from the community would come out and support these games now, you know, and that's when you're like, all right, these games are getting for real, you know.
I do the same thing. Like I played in college soccer and played some high level club soccer and did all the fun flashy things, but when I look back on my playing career, high school soccer are the best memories. Right. I mean, I could tell high school soccer stories all day. Like get back with my buddies from then, and you just like remember stuff that happened, and the community rallying behind you it's just cool. It's a cool experience. I think players now sometimes are kind of missing out on that a little bit. Obviously it's obviously not as good for your development. Like in a vacuum, you're going to become a better player by playing for some MLS academy, but you aren't going to get those same life experiences that like teach you a lot about yourself, I think. But close
connections with people that to this day I'm still very close with, you know, so important.
Were you playing club soccer at the same time? Were you playing high school soccer in the fall and club soccer in the spring, or what was going on then? I
think it was around the same time, because I remember from training high school, we would have like our training gear for our club in our backpacks. And I think coach, we have to leave early. We have club. So he was able to work with us and literally just drive straight from the training ground to club practice and another 2 hours.
Just playing constantly.
Just playing, man. That's what I did. Just play.
We were built different back then. Now it's like one game and like in the training room, like, oh, my hamstring hurts. Back then you play like 4 or 5 games in a tournament weekend.
Remember those tournament weekends?
Dude. You play like 2 group games on Saturday, a group game and then you play like a semifinal, and you play like a final on Sunday evening.
That was crazy.
And then you drive back from wherever it was.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was a different time.
Taking off your cleats, being in slides in between games, which is, man.
Yeah, you're just like wearing the same socks like all weekend. That was a different time.
Good old days.
Okay, so then we get past high school soccer, we get past club soccer. You're going off to college, summer of 2017, heading to Cal State Fullerton, D1 college in the Big West. Why Cal State Fullerton? What was the recruiting process?
I feel like it was close to home. You know, I feel like that was a big decision. And also a very good friend of mine who's my cuñado, who married my sister. He was a great player. So in high school, he was a senior and I was a freshman, and we got along pretty well. Then he got drafted to Cal State Fullerton. He did his years there, and I was finishing high school. But once I got to my senior year, it was his junior year in college. He started to tell the coach, hey, you should look at this kid, you know, like, so I had some options, but I don't know. I feel like the interest from just Cal State Fullerton, just everything was, I was like, I really like this school. It's close from home. Even enough to commute, right? I feel like Diego, my cuñado, had a big process, you know, a big reason why I went to Cal State Fullerton.
Cuñado, explain what that is to me.
As my brother-in-law, sorry.
Okay,
my brother-in-law,
my
brother-in-law.
I do speak some Spanish, but I don't speak. I didn't get that one.
It's just a habit, just saying cuñado.
Yeah, cool. Were you recruited by other schools?
I was talking to UC Irvine, a couple other guys as well, but I feel like I was really focused on either UCI or Cal State Fullerton, especially since it's in the Big West around Southern California. Those were the schools that at least I was aware of and like good programs.
Okay. So then things went pretty well for you at Cal State Fullerton. You came in as a freshman year, 15 games, 0 starts, 1 goal, pretty typical freshman season, getting your feet under you. What was that freshman season like?
Yeah, man, it was just like you said, you know, you don't get a lot of guys coming from high school that are playing ball or professional, and even then going to college, you know. So I feel like that jump was kind of big, but it was just like you said, you know, just getting used to the level, getting used to the intensity. I learned a lot. I feel like that was the first year where I learned hard work. You know, like I've had some coaches that no matter how you perform, as long as your work ethic was there, then like that's fine. You know, control what you could control, which is your work ethic. And I feel like that was just perfect. I just had to earn my spot. That's what it was. I just had to earn my spot from freshman year and just take it game by game and week by week.
Was there like a welcome to the league moment? Like, do you look back and go like, there was a moment or a training where like you were like, oh, like, ooh, I'm in a different environment now?
Man, Not really, because I was accustomed to, like I said, like playing with older people, you know, and just the intensity and all that. But I think it was up until we played like the professional teams, you know, like preseason. Like, so we would play in the fall, and then spring season, I feel like just being a freshman, playing against MLS guys, I feel like that's when I realized, I was like, okay, yeah, like these guys are good, you know?
Yeah, like that's where I need to get
exactly.
if I want to be there.
Exactly.
The gap in quality becomes very clear.
For sure.
So then you push on really well, sophomore and junior year, 2 good years. You got 21 games, 14 starts, 6 goals as a sophomore, and then junior year is when you really broke out, 18 games, 18 starts, 7 goals, 7 assists. You guys were 12-7-1. You lost in the Big West semifinals to UC Davis. You were a first team all-conference. But that was a big year for you, that junior year. Was that like, do you feel like junior year was when it was starting to click, where you went, I could maybe play beyond
for sure
college?
I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, I feel like I've always had that thought, you know, it's just I don't know, maybe take these years to be a sponge, learn, and when the opportunity was gonna come, I just had a feeling the opportunity is gonna come. You know, you're gonna get a shot. Just be ready. Yeah. But yeah, I feel like that junior year we had a pretty good squad, man. I think it was the best start in Cal State Fullerton history. Like, we went undefeated for like 10 games, I think, or something like that. Yeah, man. That's when I started actually hearing about, hey, like this team is interested in you, or like maybe even entering the draft from my coaches. That's when things I feel like got real to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Were you playing as a winger and attacking midfielder?
Yeah, I was playing the winger.
You
left wing.
As a winger.
On the left wing.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that the coach, or maybe the sporting director, was one of the people that came to the Orange County game. Mm-hmm. Speak to your relationship that you had and what those people meant to you during your college career.
Yeah, man. I think, like I said, it's very important of which school decision that you take, because Coach Coons, so at that point, my head coach was Coach Coons, Coach Reyes, and Coach Carlos. Mm-hmm. And they were just great people, man, great mentors. Just having those people around, like I said, they really, really wanted the best for me. Even to the point where we can maybe touch upon later of how not playing my senior year and how I kind of make that transition to pro. Yeah. But yeah, man, I feel like they were just great mentors. They saw my vision. I think they saw my talent in a way, you know, and they were just trying to, let's help this kid, you know.
Yeah. Are they still there at Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah.
Is still in that program?
Yeah, for sure. From time to time, I go back, train with them in the off season, and yeah, I'm always welcome there. So I appreciate that on their part.
Were you commuting, or were you staying on campus?
I was commuting my junior year.
Okay.
And then I was staying off campus with a soccer house of guys.
Okay, nice. Let's jump into then what you mentioned there, because me and you had the same experience. I also played my junior year in 2019, and then you're probably on campus that spring 2020, and everyone gets sent home. We all thought we'd be home for a week or two and be back. And then, I mean, I know for me, I spent all summer training, just being ready for that fall season, my final season of college soccer, and then it just kind of never came. So what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I think when I look back at it, I think, man, what a crazy time. Like, literally everything was on pause. No soccer, and people couldn't even go out. I think right there, like, people need to be in their houses by like 10. Like, they're really enforcing that. Yeah, man.
You were in Southern California too, so like stricter COVID protocols as well strict. Compared to some other states. So,
very strict, yeah, man. Unfortunately, could have finished my senior year, but you know, everything happens for a reason.
Yeah. So what was the transition like then? Because obviously you're thinking, okay, it's my senior year. Now's the time I got to take another step forward from junior year, put myself on the MLS team's radar, get myself in the draft, and then you lose that opportunity to put yourself on the pedestal, to get yourself recruited, to turn professional. So what were the conversations like? Did you need to get an agent? Were your college coaches helping put you on the radar? What happened?
Yeah, so I think after my junior year in the fall, I was hearing like my athletic trainer would be like, hey, I just got a call from Toronto. Hey, I just got a call from LAFC, just asking history reports, you know, just so I was like, okay, these guys are interested. Yeah. My coach told me, hey, I think you're going to be in the draft. But that wasn't going to be up until next year, I believe. Yeah. So then spring happened, COVID happened. realized, man, I won't play my senior year up until next year. And I had a coach who told me, hey, look, you're already old. You're 20, in college, in junior year, I was like 22, something like that.
Yeah.
He was like, you won't play your senior year up until like 2 years from now.
Yeah.
I say you go pro, So he put me in contact with an agent, had a conversation. It was a tough decision, man, because I had to leave college, in the way.
Yeah.
But I talked to my family. They said, hey, whatever you want, like, we support you. So, I ended up leaving college my junior year. And because everything was on pause, no games, no nothing. I was just training on my own as you were.
Yeah.
My agent calls me, tells me, hey, like, I have a team in Los Cabos, Mexico. I say you go out there. It was, why not? You're here stuck. You're not playing games. Might as well just go out there and play. They're starting a new league. And that's what I did. I packed my things, went to Los Cabos, and that's when I started, like, playing professionally.
Like in 2020, right? Like in
yes,
fall
I believe
2020?
So.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you start playing professionally, but then you do end up entering the draft, and you do get drafted. So walk me through what the decision was to enter the MLS draft, what the experience was like to get drafted 47th overall by Chicago, and then we can dive into preseason and everything that happened after. But man, it's kind of a long story, but let's do it. You're on a podcast, so this is the place for the long story.
I guess so. So I'll kind of cover a little bit of everything. So on that team, when I went to go play in Los Cabos, I was going in there blindly, and I was just like, all right, I got a contract. I'm gonna play. Like, I'm gonna start from the bottom, I guess you can say. Start from this team, and from there just get games. My head coach ends up being Joel Sanchez, who ends up being like an OG for Chivas. Like, he was the right back for the national team, Mexico national team, and like he was legit. Played under him for like I was out there for like 5-6 months, and he just liked my play, my playing style. So that team ended up done. I go back to California, go back home, and since my agent has a really great relationship with the head coach from Los Cabos, from my understanding, I'm gonna take a wild guess. I still don't know to this day. I think that coach had a really big influence on how I got into Chivas, which was that transition, the same transition as the draft. So it was February. I get a call from my agent, and he tells me, hey, there's interest from you from Chivas. You should really consider this. They want to see you now. But I'm like, I'm waiting for the draft, though. I'm waiting for the draft. I don't know how that's going to go. I end up getting drafted by Chicago Fire. I get a call by the GM there, and he tells me, hey, we're excited to meet you. We want to bring you in the summer, which was like in 2 or 3 months, to make sure you fit. We look forward to seeing you. And at that point, I had 2 decisions. I was like, man, do I go to Chicago Fire? Do I go to Chivas? And I ended up just going to Chivas, man.
Yeah. Because in a normal year, it was because everything was messed up for COVID. In a normal year, you would have gotten drafted in December, and you would have been in preseason with Chicago Fire immediately.
Correct.
But because everything was delayed because of all the pandemic nonsense, you had a decision on your hands. Yeah. Wow.
I went everywhere. I don't know if you understood the timelines.
I hear you. Yeah. So what went into the decision to go to Chivas? Why did you end up deciding that was the right move at that time?
Yeah. So I think that was when you think of Chivas, and I'm Mexican. As a kid, my family just vamos Chivas. Like, it's always Chivas, and it's a big club, man.
So your parents Chivas fans?
Yeah, Chivas fan. My whole family, bro. Chivas.
Hard to turn that down.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, why not? Why not? These guys are interested in me. Let me go out there and prove myself, and So I just felt like that was a good decision.
Yeah. Okay. So then you go, you play a couple of appearances with their reserve team. It looks like you had 15 appearances, 1 goal. You're there for roughly a year. What do you feel like that year with Chivas did for your development? Do you feel like you changed as a player in any way?
Man, I think it helped me, man, because you got to see really good players, really good level. A great setup from a club, like a proper setup. Field was just immaculate, man. There's a professional environment, coming from roughly from college straight to like a top team, you know, it was great. I had a lot of mentors there as well, even coaches, players, just understanding the level, you know, just seeing it right away. Okay, he's good. Okay, you know, gotta pick it up or gotta put in a little bit more work. I feel like just seeing the expectation for sure was just eye-opening to me, you know. Be like, all right, that's the level that.
Yeah. Were you training with the first team at this time? Okay, so you were front and center on everything that was happening. Yeah,
so when my agent said, hey, they want to see you, I was training with the first team for like the whole 5 months. Okay. 5 months. Obviously, they were just looking at me. Yeah. You know, they were just looking at me, and they ended up making a decision. Yeah, they signed them. Okay. And then from there, I was just up and down with these guys, and was getting most of my games in with the reserve team.
Okay, so then July 2022, you signed with Rio Grande Valley FC in USL Championship. It's about exactly a year after you've joined Chivas. Where did that decision come from? Why leave Chivas at that time, which we've established is like hometown, your family's favorite club? That must be a hard decision to go, it's time to leave here. Yeah,
that was another tough decision in my career. I still had, I think, a year and a half or even 2 years on my contract. Okay. But I wanted to play, to be honest. I wanted to play. As soon as I seen the year and a half that I was there, they changed the coaching staff consistently, 4 times. It was just in and out. And I'm just like, the coach who signed me, Bucetich, he wasn't there no more. And he was the one that, let's sign him. I like him. So as soon as just him being gone and just having to break in with other coaches, my vision is I'm trying to play first division or just get to the top. Yeah. So as soon as I just see maybe here, maybe isn't it, I talk to my agent, talk to them to be like, hey, most importantly, I want to get exposed. I want to play games and stuff. So, we just parted ways mutually. Yeah. And, it was also through my agent who knew Wilmer, which was the coach there at RGV.
So, and I think that's something that people don't see sometimes is when you have a lot of instability at the club, it becomes really difficult for a reserve player or a younger player to break through, because what's the incentive for head coach that if he loses the next 2 games, he might be out to take a risk on playing you, even though long term that might pay off, but that coach might not see the long term. And so then that becomes this situation for you as a young player, reserve player trying to break through that isn't ideal anymore.
And I feel like it's even tougher in other countries. Here I feel like it's a little bit of grace, even then it's tough out here, but over there is, man, you lose a couple games and they're already sacking you.
Yeah, it's like there's no patience, which comes with a level of, we talked about this earlier about Antonio's background and coming from that European background where it's life or death and results are expected. There's a positive side to that, but there's also the negative side to that where teams maybe don't execute on long-term visions very effectively. For sure. And it makes it difficult, and you just end up relying on veteran players, and you sort of create the own cycle for yourself. Okay, Rio Grande Valley. Why Rio Grande Valley? You mentioned Wilmer Cabrera was the head coach there at the time. Big reason why you signed for them was Wilmer? Yeah,
for sure. Right away, it's a good feeling when the coach actually gives you the call and tells you he's interested in you, and you just get that sense of, okay, he wants me to come in, and he just has faith in me, and my quality and stuff like that to be part of his group. So, and I also had another teammate, a college teammate there who I played in Fullerton with, Robert. He was on that team as well. So he was like, hey, bro, nice. They're interested, it's a nice setup over here. And he kind of just gave me the whole layout. And yeah, man, I said, I wanted to come, I wanted to play, and yeah.
I think that player-to-player recruiting is sometimes overlooked as well. That's a big part of the decision that players will make sometimes is if they know someone at the club or they know someone who used to play there or they know someone who knew someone that used to play there, you guys start making calls. How's the setup? Do they do things the right way over there? It's a big part of it.
Yeah, for sure. Even in coaching and everything, I feel like just relationships, right? If I respect you a lot and it's coming from you, hey, you need to see this guy. It's coming from you, so this guy's got to be, good or decent or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had 2 really good years at RGV. So you joined them in the summer, so halfway through the season. Yeah. And you were, on fire. You had 15 appearances. You hit the ground running. 7 goals, 3 assists, made the playoffs, played in that first round of playoffs. What was that team like that year? And it's a hard thing to drop into a team in the middle of a season and immediately contribute in a league you haven't played in before. So
so when I got that call, I don't think RGV was like doing the best, I guess. So they were looking for guys, and I come in with the intention, made it really very clear, like, hey, we need goal scorers, you know, like, and I could sense, like I said, he wants me to come in and be part of the group, but not just be part of the group, have it like an instant effect already, you know, like, so he brought in another guy as well, and I just feel like just with a few new pieces and working together, man, it was by the time we got into playoffs, like we were flowing.
Yeah.
We're good.
The next year, I think 2023, another good year for you. 20 appearances, 3 goals, 1 assist. The team doesn't make the playoffs. Team folds at the end of the year.
Crazy.
Were there hints of that throughout the year, or like what was that year like for you?
Yeah, it was a very strange year, man. I think like midway through the season, we started hearing like, you know, things, but it's kind of hard because as a player, as a team, you're not trying to focus too much on those things, right? So you're trying to focus on these games, and because at the end of the day, if you do and you lose games, probability is the team is gonna fold, right?
Yeah.
But like no, but let's do our job. Let's win games, and hopefully not make that happen. But yeah, man, it was sad because most of us had like I said, we were rebuilding, so we had a lot of guys who were coming back, and we were just looking forward to next year. And yeah, man, it sucked.
It's tough to get the rug pulled out from under you. It's tough for the community as well. That's a tough part to be. What did you learn about yourself in those 2 years? This is kind of your first 2 full professional seasons where you're a starter, you're a contributor, you're asked to play a leading role. What did you learn about yourself as a player in that time?
Yeah, man, I think the sky's the limit. You know, I think especially having certain coaches who have that belief in you, have faith in your quality, and like kind of, how can I say it? Like they paint the picture for you, and they see the bigger picture for you. They're like, hey, like you don't belong in this league, or just an example, you know, like, hey, you don't belong in this league. So they just, I don't know, just them having that, playing under a coach or playing under a team that trusts in your quality, you know, and I feel like that's very important. That's where I had my best years. And yeah, just individually, you could score a lot more.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. So then team folds. All of a sudden, you go from planning to tackle year 3 with this team, with a group of guys that you're familiar with. You're in a team where you know you're playing and you know they're relying on you, and now all of a sudden the club doesn't exist anymore. And now you're staring at an off season where you need to find a new club. How does that process end with Las Vegas Lights? Yeah,
so if you've ever been a free agent, it's crazy, you know.
Crazy in a bad way or crazy in a good way?
A little bit of both, you know. It's just having the looking for a team, you know. Like you're not desperate, but you're waiting it out. You know, you're trying to see your options and hopefully make the best option. But the crazy part was with RGV, we ended the season like late October, and they didn't tell us up until, I would say, maybe like December.
Oh, late.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it would have been different maybe from right there. Hey, we're folding. Yeah. Maybe start talking to teams. But a lot of guys were just, hey, like what's gonna happen? Mm-hmm. So I ended up being a free agent, switch agents, and yeah, man, he got me this deal. Dennis called me as well. Just like I said, he called me personally, and it just felt like, you know, he believes in my quality. So that's why I decided to come here.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. Do you know anything about the club prior to coming, or were you signing on pretty blind?
He kind of explained to me the project, you know, like, hey, we have new ownership, like everything's new. Mm-hmm. We knew years prior Vegas hasn't had the best years. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, man, just like in Bellflower and Cal State Fullerton, I feel like we're always the underdogs, you know, so I don't know. I just connected with wanting to change this team and yeah, man, just change everything about this team.
Yeah. You dealt with a little bit of an injury at the beginning of the season, if I'm not wrong. Mm-hmm. You end up making 21 appearances, 3 goals, 3 assists. We mentioned earlier 3 game winners, make the run to the Western Conference Final. But the beginning stretch of the season where the team struggled a little bit more, you were out with a longer term injury. What was that? What was it like having to sit on the sideline with your new team and then getting back into play from there?
Yeah, so it was in preseason, man. It was like my third day in preseason.
Preseason injuries are the worst.
Yeah, man, you know, you're excited, you're ready to go.
Then you end up sitting, like being injured in preseason is bad too, because there's nothing to do in preseason. You're in the hotel just training every day. Literally. So if you're then injured and you're stuck at the hotel doing absolutely nothing except for being in film sessions is tough.
Yeah, you're just there like, man, and it's literally a waiting game. You know, I fractured my 5th metatarsal, so it is a waiting game with bone density and just waiting for the fracture to fill. But that's part of the game. You know, I feel like I've gotten the sense of how this game goes. There's good moments, bad moments, just trying to focus on what I can control. So that was just waiting for this bone to heal and just be ready, man. You know, do upper body, do core, do whatever I can. Yeah. I was in a scooter for 2 months. It sucked, man. Getting in the car, getting out, just watching teammates play. But
was it your right foot as well?
My right foot, yeah.
Oh, you couldn't even drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I had actually would drive with my left foot one day.
Really?
When I really had to.
Yeah,
I would have to drive with my left foot. But it's just part of being a professional, right? Just doing your rehab correct and just be ready. Did
it take you a while to get back into it?
Yeah, so I fractured it around February. My first game was like late June or mid-June, a couple months.
Once you got that, you get back in the team, your first game, when did you feel like you were finally rounding back into form and you were back at the peak of your ability?
Yeah, I feel like when the team was at their peak, when we were just winning games, I feel like, okay, now I got my legs under me. We're winning games. We feel good. We playing good.
Walk me through that playoff run and what it was like for it to come up short in the Western Conference Final. What were the emotions of that entire run?
Yeah, it was bittersweet, man. Especially how Vegas hasn't had the best years. Just a group of guys coming together, wanting to change the club, the identity of the club, and just being so close, man. Being so close is heartbreaking, but I'm willing to leave with the good, and which was we had a really good team, man, a good run, and just try to work based off that year, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like we've got a sense of what it is to compete, to play at the highest level games in this league. So. Yeah, man, I feel like it's just going to help us for this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a couple guys have talked about it as well. You've talked about joining this team and really identifying with the underdog mentality and that like us against the world type of mentality. A little bit different this year, no? Because I think everyone sees it coming now. Everyone knows the team is good. Everyone knows the team should be a playoff team.
Yeah.
Does that change your mentality? Does that change how you feel other teams approaching the game? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit of both. I feel like last year we made a statement, like we're here to play. We're a good team. But I still think there's teams out there that don't respect us, man. So nothing changes for us on our parts. We just got to go out there and compete, man, and just know every time to play against Vegas is not going to be an easy game.
Yeah. You started the season strong, 7 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist already. It's a strong pace. You extrapolate that out over the course of the season, that's a lot of goals. It's one of your best seasons potentially. So what are your personal goals for the season? What are you hoping to get out of 2025?
Yeah, man, just try to score goals, man, honestly. Score goals, assist. I'll just help the group anywhere I can, right? Whether it's, the intensity, putting in hard work, defensively, whatever, just win games. I feel like if the team has a good year, we all have a good year. We all look good individually. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
What do you think the team's capable of?
I think we're starting to get a little bit of a sense of, hey, like we could compete this year, man, for this championship. I feel like that's always been there from the get-go, but it's different when you get all 28 guys on board.
Yeah,
I feel like that's where we're at right now. We're all on the same page. We know we could compete. It's just gritting it out and getting wins.
Yeah, absolutely. And hopefully it comes a little earlier than it did last year. Because
sure.
there was some hairy moments at the beginning of the season last year.
For sure.
We lost on the road 6-0 at Charleston Battery. That was a low moment in the spring. Yeah. The team wasn't looking great. It wasn't until you got back from injury, Corey Bennett starts scoring goals in the summer, team gets really hot, then it's like, oh, wow, this team could do it all. But it wasn't like that for a long time. So if you can find that momentum and start riding that wave earlier in the season, that's where you want to be. And it takes time. Like, you still have to build a system under a new head coach and onboard a couple new players after a couple departures at the end of last year. So that's just how it goes.
And season is long. This season is long. So I've come to realize teams who start hot in the beginning, it's very tough for them to stay hot throughout the whole year. So that's just our expectation, and just try to maintain a level throughout the whole season.
Yeah, especially in a playoff league, right? I mean, it's different when it's a European table and you have to perform at an 8 out of 10 all year long. For sure. But in this league, ultimately what really matters is being the most informed team for those 4 games in November. And that's really all that everyone remembers at the end of the day. Exactly. Like, no one remembers March if you are winning the final in the last weekend of November. So.
Yeah, and I feel like most teams are probably not playing their best. It's just going to come as they play, and same with us. We're just going to get better every game and each month as it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. One more for you, and I'm interested, right? Because you are 26, but in terms of your professional career, it's a little bit younger because you come out of college after a full cycle of college. So you've been with RGV and now going into season 2 with Vegas, really starting to show your quality as a pro. Where do you want your career to go? Where do you think you can end up?
That's a tough question, man.
Yeah. Because it doesn't just depend on you, right?
Yeah, of course.
It depends on agents and coaches and some sporting director somewhere finding value in you. So,
sure.
But in an ideal world.
Yeah, in an ideal world, I think everybody wants to play first division, right? Whether that's MLS, Mexico, Liga MX, Europe, obviously, right? That's always the goal. But man, I've tend to be happy with where I'm at. Obviously, there's room for improvement. There's always goals that I'm trying to reach. Just trying to stay healthy, man. Stay healthy, play as long as I can. My passion for the sport is huge, man. So the day I stop playing is going to be a sad day.
Yeah.
So, like I said, just stay healthy and just try to play at the highest level I can, consistently.
If you weren't playing, what would you be doing?
Amateur football player. Honestly, man.
What was your major in college?
Health science.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know, man.
Did you end up getting to finish that or no because of leaving early with the pandemic?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, I still had I think a year and a half left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you still had a while.
Yeah, but those doors are not closed. Like I said, I still have close relationships with my coach and the school, and they've told me, hey, whenever you want to come back and finish, we'll try to help you with your classes and all that. So
yeah, awesome. Cool. Well, Wednesday night, AV Alta, there is, it's job fair night. We've got a cool career panel going on, so you can grab your tickets for that and find a non-amateur football career pathway. There's a lot of ways to work in this sport that aren't on the field, and there's a lot of different pathways for you to be involved in professional sports. So look out for that. Also look out for Christian Pinzon and the team continuing their Jägermeister Cup journey on Wednesday night here at Cashman Field, 7:30 p.m. You can get your tickets at LasVegasLightsFC.com/tickets. We'll see you there. Thanks for joining us.